iri joro mana yanje ndagushimira umugisha wampaye uyu munsi wose none umpishe mu mababa wampaye uyu munsi wose none umpishe mu mababa kubwa Yesu mbabarira ibyaha nakoze byose nkomenuzuye na bose taragondwa n'ibitotsi nkomenuzuye na bose taragondwa n'ibitotsi.
Up to 500,000 women were raped during the Rwanda genocide, as many as 64,000 in Sierra Leone, and over 40,000 in the Bosnia and Herzegovina war. And every day, hundreds of women are raped in Darfur. These are not the random acts of individual soldiers. They are military tactics used to shame and demoralize women, tear communities apart, and control populations. This must end, but we need your help. Together, we can make a difference by helping to change the attitudes that perpetuate violence against women, by changing the laws and policies that provide impunity for offenders, by uniting in defiance to end this crime against humanity. Together, we will stop rape.
Welcome. The Nobel Women's Initiative was started by these amazing, courageous women.
I know that each of us here has wisdom, experience, thoughts about how we can take the power of women, the choice of women to exercise their power, and make this world better for everybody.
I hope that in our discussions in the next few days, we can address roots of violence and come up with a roadmap to overcome it.
And I think rape has gone on for so long, and sexual violence against women and men, because we have refused to speak the truth.
Everybody's doing great work, but when we do it together, each in our own way, but with a coordinated strategy for change, it's much more effective.
In order to tackle these issues, we have to have courage. And we have to have courage to try to think in a completely different and new way.
So we hope that in these 3 days, part of what we can do here is think about what we as women, what civil society can do to pressure governments, to pressure the UN to implement these laws. You know, laws are lovely on paper. They are irrelevant if they are not implemented and complied with.
Impunity actually begins at home. Mm-hmm. And so to me, it also says that the reason that we're here and the ideas that Jody put out at the beginning are so important. Unless there is a civil society movement that is actually pressing this issue, you cannot leave it to the international institutions to do this. It won't happen that way.
And I think we actually should count armed forces in when it comes to this matter, because it said before here we work for peace and equality. I would say we do that too. We work for peace, democracy, and equality. That is what I do every day.
34% des ménages sont dirigés par les femmes. Vous comprenez que la pauvreté au féminin est à la hausse.
But something actually changed in our organization, and people are really aware now that if you do not, behave, and if you do these type of things, you're out. You're absolutely out.
Vivent au sort d'une façon spécifique. Ils sont pauvres, ils ont le sida, ils ont des enfants nés du viol, ils sont rejetés, ils sont traumatisés. Donc, toutes les choses maudites du monde. Mais il faut créer cet appui multidisciplinaire à l'égard, en commençant par la santé, la justice, l'économie et tout ça.
I'm sorry to share with you, but I'm also proud to share with you this image, an image which shook India and the world. This is the essence of today's discussion. In July 2004, a young 33-year-old woman, Tangjam Naroma, was picked up from her house at gunpoint by Indian paramilitary. She was picked up at 12 o'clock in the night without any women officer. At 5 o'clock the following morning, her body was found dead. Many deaths happen in Manipur every day.
And I think also it's important to see that military is the part of the solution and men is a part of the solution, which has been said here. And if we should let that happen, it's very much up to us in this room, I believe, if we want that. I want that.
I will believe in the United Nations system only if it reaches my villages. It's been more than 25 years. Government of India doesn't even allow the UN women to work in my state. This is the reality that we, the women in many conflict zones, have to confront, and we will continue to do. As Jody said, peace is hard work every day, and we will do it till we get it, and I know we will get it, because our heart's in the right place. Thank you.
My name is Rosa Mapendo. I am from DRC. I am a survivor from genocide of 1998. I spent 16 months in death camp under the guns 24 hours, 7 days a week. It was lucky our husband, they tortured them, they killed all of them. We left the women. They said they can't waste a bullet for the women. They chose just to kill women by abuse. I am a victim. I believe I can help another victim.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what she's been through. Mine, I said, nobody can change outside without change what is inside. I want to help them to change. It's not your fault to be raped. It's not your choice. You don't have to live and feel. Speak out and let this go. Don't keep it. What you can do right now. We don't know what is going to bring tomorrow. You can make a difference today. It's not tomorrow. And thank you so much for what you are doing.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rose.
We have people representing 33 countries here and about 120 women. And we can save the applause to the end because I think it is an enormous accomplishment to get this many women from this many countries into this room.
Just to get you prepared for the next panel, I will warn you, it is a frivolous activity compared to the subject matter. We want you to, A, get some energy and some right brain thinking. You're going to have about 5 minutes to build the tallest structure you can possibly build. Volunteers we'll call time, and then we will see who has built the tallest structure.
There is no grand plan. It's like in my organization, you know. Let's hope there's a grand plan. I don't think there is. Even these bending screws would make the crowns go on my head and then... Uh-oh, they're going to beat us. No, then no.
We're having this discussion at an incredibly opportune time because the issue of justice could not be more central in the global conversation than it is today, this very week in the world. We're starting this portion of our agenda today with a premise that justice is an absolutely essential component of stopping rape in war. If there's license to rape, and especially to commit mass rape, because the perpetrators are never apprehended, then we will never put a stop to this mass crime.
Burma has been ruled by the series of military dictatorship for over 50 years, who have been committed systematic human rights abuses against the people of Burma, particularly in the ethnic areas and against the women. And my organization, we release reports on the widespread and systematic use of weapons of war, providing mountains of evidence of that's the abuse that committed by the military regime.
We've got a kind of radical mission statement in the U.S. context, because we're not just interested in preventing rape or healing survivors. We're really interested in transforming the U.S. military, which takes lifetimes, I hear, but we're working on quickening that pace a little bit.
El Estado mexicano se ha negado a transformar su legislación. Las violaciones cometidas contra las mujeres indígenas no pueden ser juzgadas por tribunales civiles, porque en México los militares que cometen violaciones a derechos solo pueden ser juzgados por tribunales militares que evidentemente se niegan a sancionar los actos de violencia sexual.
I think the basis of all of our reconciliation is the understanding that we share the same pain. That's the beginning of the journey that we experienced in each other and started us off on the road.
So now I think we will want to talk about more the ideas that everyone has, what has worked, how do we get this more money to the field rather than specific funding strategies for individual organizations.
So hopefully we can take these ideas that came from the first hour and push those forward and more broadly.
So this table is important so that I'll be able to see what are the links that other people are making, what are some of the challenges, and I can share some of what we do in Liberia.
What would women bring differently to if women were able to be seated in peace negotiations at the formal level? All of my negotiations are back channel negotiations.
One of the things that we know about peace processes is that peace processes have a patriarchal vision. The way peace process, we are all blind when it comes to a peace process.
It's not rocket science. This is what we want, and this is how we're going to make it happen, and this is how we're going to unite, and this is how we're going to get the women we can get at the table, and this is how we're going to fund getting the women who are outside the table.
Mm-hmm. Since I'm from Sweden, I've never been in a peace negotiation in all my life. I would like to hear what is your experience, because I mean the Liberian experience, as you know, is one of the experiences that is quoted very often.
Yeah, a lot of the women who get to be around the table have no voice. They are invited as observers. So yes. So how do we change? How can we, even if we sit at the table as silent observers, how can we influence what is happening in that room, around that table?
It's being more and more clear about how women connect the whole, how women have a more holistic perspective, how women can see the bigger picture in a way that men can't. And that's one of the main reasons that these negotiated settlements fail later.
But one of the things that we found to be, three of the things actually that we've found to be incredibly successful is digital storytelling. So giving people disposable cameras, and after a little bit of training, asking women to go out and to photograph their lives and their worlds, and then coming back and actually constructing a story out of the pictures. And there's many different directions that you can go in using that.
My feeling is we empower the NGOs that we're working through to drive the action. So in other words, if, for instance, Women for Women International is using their networks to drive people to broadcast, then Women for Women International should own the energy that comes out of it.
If it's low quality work, activist work, only works in specific contexts. It works as an evidentiary submission before a court or tribunal if you can establish a chain of authorship or ownership. It works if it's sensational and immediate, Rodney King, if it's something
like the Libyan
Tahrir
woman
Square,
who was
right,
raped,
exactly, like that no one else has access to, that's immediate. People will forgive the bad quality, they'll forgive the citizen journalist thing if it's like coming at exactly a moment. But if it's not, if it's a chronic issue, if it's an overrepresented issue, then your leverage is either celebrity, humor, or quality. I think
in all of the countries, we're working in 22 countries, every time I visit a country, the press corps that shows up for my visits, which is really like a non-story story. And I'm just shocked that there's 15, of the radio, TV, and print. Well, we just pay them to come, and they will run the story that we want. So, and people in rural areas are watching television, and you could be buying for very, very low costs.
Ladies, can I have your attention? We're going to get started on our final day of the conference. If you could take your seats, please.
I just want to make sure everybody knows about the coverage of the conference in the newspapers yesterday, today, hopefully tomorrow, the day before yesterday. This is a big story about our colleague from Bosnia and the Nobels and this conference.
It is with the deepest sense of humility that I stand here to speak to you about one of the greatest crimes that is going on in our world today. The crime of rape, the crime of sexual violence, the violation of men and women's bodies. It is a crime that it's not very comfortable to speak about.
Your hate penetrates me, and I endure, waiting for you to exit me and leave this room in your uncle's hotel. And when you finally do, I cannot tell if it has been a minute or an eternity. I do note there's no smirk of sexual conqueror on your death squad face as you snarl your parting shot. Watch out. I know who you are.
So we need to take away the stigma of shame and put the blame exactly where it is. And those who do this, they should be taken before law, they should be with their evidence prosecuted, and there should be a payment for the crime of rape and sexual abuse.
The door closes softly. I force myself to pick up my book, read. Read, I command myself, forcing my eyes to move across a page I cannot really see. Keep your breathing shallow as possible until the noxious vapors of death dissipate, the hate that didn't really just happen. If you never talk about it, it will never be real.
So we're gonna take the two words we're gonna come at from a slightly different way are violence and conflict. All of the women that I am here with work in contexts that are not officially declared wars. When you come into the conference and you see forging a new security, sexual violence, and conflict, many of us think Sudan, DRC, Bosnia. We think of wars that are declared conflicts by an international policy framework. None of these countries are declared wars or conflicts, and yet the violence is growing and outrageous.
Zimbabwe is not a country that is at war, but every single day, women are at the front lines of violence. In 2008, you had the setting up of camps at schools, in various public places in rural villages, where women were systematically tortured and raped.
I went through rape in 2002, through a carjacking incident, and the challenges that I went through. Going through sexual violence is the most dehumanizing and demeaning thing that you can do to a fellow human being. And that's the way I felt. And the challenges that I went through, abusing alcohol for 2.5 years because I could not understand and digest what had gone through, or what had happened to me. And the family and community not being there for me through my healing process. And the support mechanism that is supposed to be put up by government to protect women and also to provide services after such a thing happens were not available for me. And through that, I decided to start Wangu Kanja Foundation that supports survivors of sexual violence.
We have some marshmallows. Did everything go off? Oh, you guys are great. This is awesome. Wait, I'm going to do one more. 1, 2, 3. Stop raining now! Wonderful.
As we move into the closing, I wanted to remind us for a moment, before we hear from you, a little bit about why we came together. We did come together to explore the possibilities of a coordinated, concerted effort to build on existing efforts to end rape and other sexual violence and conflict and political conflict situations.
Women, it's been an amazing time to be with you and to hear your stories. I think it's very important that we hear and honor your stories, and many of you represent other women who aren't here to share their voices in person. I offer a platform, a very humble platform, to share the stories. It's new, but it's there for you. It's called crypeace.org, and I invite you to share the stories because it's really our personal lives and experiences and messages about peace and hope.
My personal commitment, I will always stand with the victim of sexual violence, and plus my commitment, I will always support any movement which will protect and support women.
We commit to continue spreading the message about Resolution 1325 and the utmost importance and urgency of ensuring women's participation in decision-making. For if they're not able to speak in their own authentic voices and make decisions for themselves on matters that impact on their lives, they will continue to be vulnerable to sexual violence in conflict or in peacetime.
We commit to work with the Nobel Women Initiative to reduce substantially sexual abuse and gender-based violence in the African continent, and we welcome the Nobel Women Initiative to feel free to contact the African Union anytime they come to the continent, and we will be there to work with you.
من تعهد میکنم که قوانین ضروری در زمینه کاهش این مسئله رو تهیه بکنم و همچنین کمک بکنم به اجرای اون چه در سطح ملی و چه در سطح بین‌المللی.
And I want to invite all of you and whoever you know, wherever in the world, to share with us in the military forces, which I can have any impact on, because if you share your stories, your experiences, and what you actually expect from us and your suggestions, that can actually have an impact on our training and preparations for soldiers and officers.
And I would help advocate trying perpetrators of sexual violence at the International Criminal Court so that the whole world finds out about their guilt and others learn a lesson.
Any woman can talk, and I will support her. Thank you.
Sisters, this has been amazing 3 days. Not just the way that it's all been organized, but to be in a room full of strong, so brave women. It's been like I'm breathing fresh air when I didn't even know that I'm suffocating.
It was a symbolic support to our goal to stand by
the women in some of the world's forgotten areas, such as Manipur. So I would like to thank each one of you who gave with your heart, and I will carry this amount and will remain as a living example of the solidarity that I will be taking from this room, from this beautiful conference.
I'm proud to say that this conference has helped me realize my commitment and that I've already begun making the plans towards reaching this life goal. However, the immediate goal is to put together a fundraising concert series that will bring together the stories of women, like the women in this room. And I will use art and music to share your message and to raise funds for resources for survivors.
This night, God, I thank you for whole day. You took care for me. Now it's dark. Put me in your wing. Irijoro mana yanje. Dagushimiru mugisha. Wampayo yumusi wose. No numpishe muma baba. If I can't fall asleep, give me good thought. Don't let dream hurt me. Don't let the devil discourage me. Help me to sleep well. I trust you will take care for me. It will give me more energy. And tomorrow I can do something good for you. Nimburi tosi mwami undekerere ziziza ijoro rye kumbabaza satani ye kunchogoza ijoro rye kumbabaza satani ye kunchogoza ijoro rye kumbabaza yowe satani ye kunchogoza. This is a gift for all of you. You have done this. Keeping going forward. For me, I will never turn back. I already make a commitment. I can crash, but stand up as a mom, as a woman. It's not accident. I am a woman. Have it to be that. Have it to pass through me. I can be testimony, empowering other women, victim. I say you can be victorious. Don't give up. Thank you. Wampayo yumusi wose no numpishe muma baba. Wampayo yumusi wose no ne umpishe muma baba.